Alright, so what do I have so far? Well, I took Coastie's head off and put it over there. All the plugs weren't plugged in, as well as some other ones. I don't know if those were taken out from somebody else unplugging it and not knowing how to get it back in, if they took the top off, if they didn't. So I really don't know the background on that as far as those plugs. But those plugs are an awful lot of plugs for what little bit that's up there. I mean, we have a horn, which I don't know, I haven't turned it upside down yet. We have our port and starboard running lights. We have a yellow. We have a spotlight. I don't know if the spotlight is motorized or not. We have an eyeball with an eyelid. There's a stereo, which I don't know why we have a stereo on there. But that's getting all rusty in there. You know, the thing is, these have to be maintained. You just can't keep running it and running it and running it, and when something breaks, you duct tape it, you know, and that's what they were doing. That light was duct taped on. So because of that, now we got cracked fiberglass. So I got to take care of that. I'll work on some of the cosmetic just to get away from the troubleshooting, because I'm going to have to step away from this once in a while. I'm going to get everything out of the truck that I have that's supposed to be everything I need. So we'll take it from there. But over here, my camera is not going to go that far right now because I'm tethered. There's no battery. I believe this is going to be a battery plug, which means there should be another plug, the opposite side of this one. There's some plugs down here that have a lot of corrosion on them, down here behind where the battery was. This plug, which is that plug, also has corrosion on it. So we're going to take care of that. We have a switch here, momentary up, on and off, and over here we got a heavy duty center off, and that's what we have there. I took out two of the fuses for now because I want to check them, and I took out this piece of coax line. I want to make sure this is good. This little thing here could possibly stop it all from working, so I want to make sure this is good. Make sure this is good. That's like a piece of coax. There's a shield and there should be a shield and a setter conductor. I think it's probably like a 176 coax. I don't know if I have any of that laying around. I may have. I know I used to have. It's not a real popular one for much use, but I used to have some. All right, so anyway, we have this, which I'm trying to figure out. Right now, like I say, I'm just looking at this with no knowledge of it. I'm just looking. But why do we have a foot switch inside that you can't get to? I really don't know why we have a foot switch in there. I mean, I'm going to have to figure out where it goes. And before I can figure that out, I got to take this top off of this. This is a cover where all the wires are kind of junctioned together in there someplace. Luckily for that, it's just Velcroed on. I don't know if this is Velcroed on or not. This is a wireless unit, and it's on VHF, which is the same frequency bands. And this had nothing hooked up to it, so we don't even know what this is. There's nothing hooked up to this. Nada. So I don't even know what the hell it does. It's a VHF. Here it is, wireless, 331 VHF. So I'm going to have to see what the book said. It's a transmitter, so it transmits, it must receive. It's got an antenna on it. Nady systems. I'm going to have to look them up. All right, now this one here said VHF. But up here, okay, it's running on channel F in the 230 megahertz. Oh, okay. So it's channel F, whatever that is. I'm going to have to get the remote head and bring that in here. But this was sitting in there, not even hooked up. Was it ever hooked up? I mean, okay. The cable was a little short and it came unplugged, and when it does, the battery shuts off. Or the unit, rather. Alright, so this is where we at. We got little Coastie apart. We took its head off. Haven't checked anything on that yet. Did find a little cracking in the fiberglass because nobody fixed the light properly. They duct taped it. It wobbling back and forth made a little crack on it, which is not a big deal, but it's just neglect. People should not be using this unless they're going to take responsibility for it. So anyway, and they should sign for it. Check it. Everything should be checked out before they take it, and everything should be checked out when they bring it back by a superior officer. If there's something wrong with it, they did it. So anyhow, you got two plugs coming out of there. There's an awful lot of wires and plugs on those two plugs for what's up there. So I'm thinking 2 speakers, hot and ground, possibly memory, so that'll be maybe 5 wires for the stereo. You have your port and starboard, and let's just say 2 wires for each, which normally they share the ground, but let's just say 4. We have a horn that I don't know if that's even wired or if it's just there for looks, because there's a horn inside. There's the light. I know we should have at least 2 wires for that for on and off. I don't know if it rotates. And then we have the yellow strobe again, which is 2 wires. Now, on the lighting, a lot of that can be done with just 1 ground, you know, but you don't know what they did, so I don't know. You know, the right way would probably be 2, because if they wanted to replace 1 light, they wouldn't have to tamper with anything else other than that 1 light with the 2 wires. So, you know, if that's the way it is, that's the way I'm going to leave it. But if there's a problem somewhere there, I may make a few little modifications. Still making it easy, but, you know. And I will put a schematic in here as to what everything I've done. Now, in here we have a plug for a battery. So that means somewhere around, I haven't checked in the truck yet, there's the opposite plug that would connect to the battery so we can plug it in. We have 2 fuses up here that feed back here. I'm thinking that's probably for a battery charger. Now, if it is, I can probably just tie in off of this with a 12-volt supply and at least start testing it. I don't know. I got to figure out where everything goes here. Where's this wire go? Comes down, comes down, comes down, and it goes in here. Okay, so then we have here. So what I got to do first is I got to take this cover off. Now, the good thing about it here is everything inside plugs and comes off. Now, this is what puzzles me. This was here, nothing hooked up to it. It's just here. What is it? So again, the only thing that was hooked up, was it hooked up to this? Yes, was the audio lead right there, which I got to check that coax. I believe that's a RG176 coax, and we should have continuity both on the tip and there's no ring, but on the tip and on the ground side. So I'm going to check that to see if it's broke. But I don't know. Now this is on channel F, and they're saying it's 203.4 megahertz. It says VHF. It's a wireless 331. Yeah. Okay. You got it with you? All right. Put it on the saw. Thank you, dear. So I got to find out more about this. It's got a 3-pin plug here that I haven't seen anywhere there yet. It has a control here. Low, mute, and high, so I'm assuming that's going to be the volume control. We have a DC cord power that we don't have. So in the back, we're missing 2 plugs. The power plug, which is not a big deal. I have those if we need them. This, I don't know what it is, and if we don't have a schematic on it, I'm not going to know what it is. Unless this company is still around, Nadine, I think it is, and I can call them to find out more about it. But what was it in there for, you know? And the other thing that was in there that drives me a little cuckoo is this thing. This is like a foot switch. So why will we have a foot switch in there? Yeah, I don't know. Got a little, no. So this had the other end of this hooked up to it. That was it. That's the only thing that was hooked up to this. This didn't have a power either. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Oh, and this plugged in to this one. So it's almost like it has an in and an out. Okay. The wire, this is the communications wire. This is what the transmits back and forth to the control head to this. That's the wire, the antenna. That was down in here where they, looks like they put it, but part of it was actually sticking out the bottom through the crack back there. So I pulled that out, and what I'm going to do is, when I put the top back on it, I'm going to feed this up towards the top, because that'll also give it better coverage as far as distance. And if it doesn't give any more distance, at least it'll give it a little bit more sensitivity. So anyway, that plug plugs in there. The other plug, and there's something else down here. What the hell is this thing? I mean, every time I turn around, I'm finding something else that was added to this thing. I got to get the book out and find out what the hell all this stuff's for. And what's this? This looks like a pager or a transmitter of some sort. It does have a wire on it, and it's got power. The power's wired in directly. Up here, what do we have? On and off. We do have a volume or a level control. Again, I'm going to say volume, but I'm not sure what it is. What kind of plug do we have? We have a standard plug on it. Okay, so that's not a big deal. So we got that. We had water in it, so I'm just soaping that up right now with a rag. So I'm going to let this sit for today, now that I got most of it apart, and see what I come up with. I am going to put some anti-rust lubricant on it for now, just to give me a little bit of something to work with. I want to check this before I go any further to make sure there's no cuts or breaks in it or shorts. And there's 2 fuses over there I want to check. But other than that, that's where I'm at. So I don't, like I say, I don't want to start ripping things apart until I know and check the obvious, because I don't know who's been in this thing. It looks like there's been 100 people in it pulling it apart and not knowing what they were putting back together and whatever. I really don't know. I mean, it's not that I'm a crackerjack at this, but I kind of know what should be or shouldn't be, you know. But if it gets down to board level, then we're going to have a little problem. But let's see what happens. And it's not going to happen overnight. I want to get this to run. Once this is running, if I can get it running, then I can deal with that. I don't want to start working on that until I know this is running. This should operate without that. I'm thinking. I'm hoping. I'm hoping there's no loop system to where it's got to go through that to come back out. But we'll see what happens. So that's where I'm at with Coastie. Getting this off was a pain in the ass because of the plastic screws. Somebody stripped them out. Some are here, some are missing. Somebody broke it. So when I do put this back together, I may put a regular screw system in it. Hold on a minute, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm sure you guys know. I think. Oh, here we are. Yeah, this is what was in there. Now, there's nothing here for this to fit into. So what was this holding? Was it just pressure? Well, if it was pressure, what was stopping the nut from turning? You follow me? I don't know if there was a clip that originally went in here that this was supposed to go, you know, the nut would go into it and hold the nut in place, but it doesn't look like there was a clip anywhere. So that's an easy fix. You know, I'm just rattling off right now. You know what? Let me get the meter and check these real quick. Hold on. Let me get the fluke. Get the fluke out. Once I power it up, you get power on it. I'll see if I can get some frequencies out of it to see if it's transmitting or anything with the wireless frequency counter. Oh, you don't even see what I'm doing. I'm sorry, guys. Here's the meter. What I'm doing is I'm checking this thing here, this piece of coax. The fuse is checked out okay. Now, if I have continuity, I should hear that. So if I go from the so-called ground, which is the piece in here, this is the tip. There's no real ring, so otherwise it'd be another one. So if I go from here to there, right now, I should be hearing something. And I'm not. Now, are they not using it? The only way I can tell is open it up. Now we go from here to here, because I think that's 176, RG176 coax. And if it is, it has a shield on it. If it has a shield on it, they usually connect it. Okay, now this is the center. Okay, so the center is connected. The outer, the shield, I'm not sure about just yet. I won't know until I open that up. So, all right, let me get a little spray here real quick. Just a little squirt. All right, so let's put a little squirt in here. Just to make sure, because there's water in here. And water usually brings moisture, which usually brings rust. And that's the way that usually works. So let's put whatever we can, which is the obvious. And see what we come up with. This doesn't look bad, so I'm not going to do anything with that. I don't know where that other connector goes. Looks like somebody may have taken this apart at one time. That's the antenna though. Even, well, I was going to say, even if the antenna didn't work, if you were up close with it, it should, but you don't know for sure. This switch, let me see if I can get behind here and dump some in there. Okay, I'm just going to let all that sit for now. I'm not going to do anything else until I know for sure what we have, or at least get started. Okay, I'm not going to oil any of these or grease any of those. This I'm going to open up tomorrow and check it, which is not a big deal. Take the screws off, the back will come off. If they have the shield cut off, they're just not using it, not a big deal. But if it looks like it was broke off, well then I'll solder it back together. Can that cause the problem? I don't know. Yes, but I don't know where it falls in line. That's what the problem is. So I got to get everything out of the hand. Alright, so let me turn this off for now. And then we're going to go over. I just got 2 guns in.